Hello everyone, welcome to Anime Know Me, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. There are so many questions that we One Piece fans wonder about when it comes to the story. Something that all of you constantly comment about on the videos here on the channel. Something we absolutely appreciate and love to see when you leave them. So today's video, I'm going to answer some of the questions related to the story, with answers being based on our opinion, as well as based on what we've already seen presented in the manga. But before we dive into the video, we'd like to say a huge thank you to all of you who leave likes, comments, questions, and who have also supported this channel so much throughout the years. And if you haven't subscribed yet, we hope that this might be the video where you decide to hit that red button and join us on this wonderful voyage with our story of One Piece. But without further ado, let's get into this Q&A session for all of those wonderful questions you've left us in the comments. So my friends, the first question is Luffy gonna meet up with Mother Nature, or that entity that doesn't like devil fruit users? Now let's start with where this goddess of the seas came from. In this current arc of One Piece, the Straw Hats managed to find Dr. Vegapunk, the greatest scientist in the world. And as Luffy and Lucci started to fight, Vegapunk observes Luffy's new Gear 5th transformation, and he decides to start talking about his theory about how devil fruits came to be. In his explanation, the good doctor said that devil fruits are possibly the human evolution of desires that someone had, where all these abilities represent the various futures and desires of humanity, and that's why they are so unnatural and are hated by the sea, thus Mother Nature. Vegapunk went on by saying that those with abilities are people who exist in different dimensions that have been imagined by someone, or at least that was his theory. Now, let's emphasize Vegapunk's phrase, "that's my theory." This phrase symbolizes that Vegapunk is not really sure that he's actually right about his idea of devil fruits. In the story, Vegapunk is the second person to mention Mother Nature, the first being Admiral Ryukugyu, who has a fruit capable of manipulating plants in any way he wants, and he can even transform into a large creature with the appearance of a tree. Both refer to this Mother Nature, but we don't know if this is a creature or a divinity or god, or even if they really exist. But the possibility of this being symbolic could be this way of symbolizing that nature does have a life and a consciousness. As we've seen so far, there really isn't a particular god or deity that rules over the world of One Piece. They're represented more as fruit entities. So this means that this Mother Nature entity may not be a free deity or an individual or being that has the ability to change anything, where in this particular case, they would be putting their will over the seas, preventing devil fruit users from being able to swim over them or through them, causing them to sink. So there might be a logical explanation as to why users aren't able to swim. But so far, Vegapunk and not any other character presented so far know the true idea or reason behind the devil fruits, and also the reasons why their users sink into the sea. The next question we're going to tackle is, will we still have new fruits in the manga? Now the answer to this is quite simple, and that's yes. We're gonna see new fruits during this final arc of One Piece. Fruits in which there may have some really amazing power, even greater than what we've seen so far in the story. As the work of One Piece develops, new powerful characters are gonna emerge, revealing that they have incredible fruits, capable of even manipulating people, objects, or even something more intangible. Throughout our journey with the Straw Hats, we have had new fruits constantly presented here and there, but this is gonna be even more so now that we're in the final saga, where extremely powerful characters are gonna show up and are gonna be part of this great confrontation that is yet to come. The one that Oda has foreshadowed, saying it's gonna make Marineford look like just a little skirmish. Just take a moment and consider what we saw in the Wano arc. We were introduced to several Zoan fruits belonging to Kaido's crew, and as the arc ended, we were introduced again to a new fruit that belonged to Vegapunk. There's also a big battle starting to mount around Egghead Island, where we're gonna have many Marines moving to surround and confront the pirates that are on the island. Marines that could have powerful and diverse devil fruits we've never seen yet. We also have to imagine that Oda is not gonna stop introducing devil fruits now that we're just in the final saga. There's something that's necessary for the story to develop, and if they stop being presented, the story might lose one of its greatest focuses and flavor, which is the devil fruits. So without a doubt, we're gonna definitely have new devil fruits as the Straw Hats progress in their adventure to find the One Piece treasure, revealing characters in which they have not only powerful fruits, but could also become great obstacles for the Straw Hats and their allies. The next question is, if people's desires have the power to shape reality, did the One Piece clans or kind of different species arise from the will of their ancestors, especially those ones with powers? This is a wonderful question, and the chances that this could be true are kind of low. Now, devil fruits are something that we could consider kind of fanciful, because as was said by Vegapunk, it's as if they're from another world. Now, it's more likely that these existing clans and races in One Piece already belonged naturally to this world, and it's possible to create a power with your desires, but it's not possible possible to necessarily create life based on this same idea. Wishes alone might not be enough to create a new life or species. I mean, not even a new existence. They were only able to create the devil fruit somehow, because there's something else that not even Vegapunk seems to know about yet. Another detail to consider is because they're a fruit, it means that these devil fruits probably came from some tree, and this tree might be responsible for creating the fruits based on people's desire. Now, this is not a new idea in the community. The idea of a devil fruit tree has been discussed by so many throughout the One Piece fandom, but one of the things that we gotta consider is there is probably a good possibility that these devil fruits came from a tree and were created in this way. In contrast, a living being couldn't just be created from this possible tree, with the obvious reasons because a fruit, although living, is not a living being. And although it's said that Zoans seem to carry the spirit of the animal of the fruit within it, this being is not actually alive. It's just the consciousness or the essence that exists within the fruit. So it's probable that we could totally rule out the possibility that a new race or clan is created based on someone's desire, becoming something unique to just the devil fruits. Because as we just said, this has to be based on the idea that devil fruits probably came from a tree and are more a manifestation of the dreams of somebody who wished for that power. Although, as many in the community have asked, why in the world would someone ever want to become a jacket? But moving on, our next question is, what does the cloud that Luffy gained around his body mean when he awakened his devil fruit? Because it seems that there are now several characters that have this in their own transformations. Throughout our story of One Piece, we've only seen a very few number of fruits actually awaken. In fact, the first of which was Doflamingo's fruit, which is a paramecia that has those string properties. And even Katakuri's, which is considered a special paramecia that gives him mochi properties. Now, with the awakening of these two particular fruits, neither user had a visible change in their appearance, just their powers got much more powerful and it could extend to their environment and their surroundings. We also haven't seen a confirmed awakening of a Logia fruit either, so we can't be sure if the users of those types of fruits remain normal or gain some kind of change in their appearance. But it seems that Zoans have this unique feature that Luffy and Lucci have, this cloud that extends around their shoulders and neck, almost forming something like a cape. And this cloud is only visible when these two characters use the transformation of their awakening, proving to be something exclusive with this transformation. Now, much earlier in the story, we did see some Zoan fruit users awakened as guards and Impel Down, but this cloud wasn't visible on their body. And this might have been due to the fact that their fruit awakening wasn't a true awakening. It might have been forced in some way. The guards of Impel Down did manage to raise their power level, but completely lost their consciousness, becoming some kind of fully deformed hybrid, completely losing their human ability to think and only acted on instinct. Lucci and Luffy, on the other hand, managed to awaken their fruits perfectly, obtaining the full potential that their Zoan fruit has. So this cloud might symbolize that the awakening is complete, or just could be something visual for those type of awakened Zoan fruits. This feature doesn't only make the character look more interesting, but it may just give a different narrative way showing that this is an awakened form, which would enable the fruit users of Zoan fruits to appear and give us, the reader, a much easier way to differentiate those with Zoan powers versus those who have awakened their transformations. And the final question we're going to tackle in today's video is, it was mentioned that when Seraphim grow up, they're going to be terrified. So does that mean we're going to have another time skip? The answer to this question is probably not, because as we know, Seraphims are robots, or more likely cyborgs, and their growth has already been accelerated way more than other human beings, but their bodies have been completely altered so they can use the same abilities and powers of the warlord that they're based on. So depending on how much time passes in the rest of our story, we're likely to see the Seraphim growing up in a considerably accelerated way throughout this final saga, something that's going to happen constantly as they're going to need to reach their adult form before the end of our story. Now, this growth could be based on constant alteration that Vegapunk does on them throughout the rest of the story, or it could be pre-programmed and just set in their bodies, making them grow at a given time based on their experiences or maybe different achievements that they get. But right now, it's just too early to talk about the Seraphim. I mean, Vegapunk hasn't even explained exactly how he was able to create these extremely powerful children, and not even discussed the potential that they're capable of reaching. So far, Vegapunk has only explained to us part of their powers that comes from a kind of green blood, which is capable of giving them the power of a paramecia devil fruit. However, the Seraphim can only maintain this power if they have a vial of green blood in their arm. Should this vial somehow break, causing the liquid to be spilled, the Seraphim's power is completely drained, turning them into just really strong and resilient robots or cyborgs, but without having any powers of the devil fruit. Also, Vegapunk still hasn't fully explained how he made changes to their bloodline factor, causing them to get the same appearance and even same abilities as the warlords. I mean, we don't even know if these children were once human or if they've always been robots or cyborgs. So for now, it's a little tough for us to talk about the Seraphim, but it's likely that they'll be able to evolve their bodies quickly, becoming more powerful and mature, just like the warlords they represent. But with all that said, my friends, that brings us to the end of this question and answer session from questions that you, our wonderful viewers, left in the comments. Thank you so much for all of the love, support, likes, and subscribes that you've brought to this channel and everything you've done to help us grow to where we are today. And we can't wait to see where we go from here. So as we wrap up our video for the day, we'd like to thank you all so much for listening and watching, especially those of you who've made it to the very end. Be sure to comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, give us a like and hit that red subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. I hope to see you all in our next video. Let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.